doing out there? Ooh, are we feeling it? Okay, good. I'm getting thumbs up around. Yeah, we've got some bouche excitement out there. We are croquembouching today and tomorrow, and I am so excited. Well, welcome everyone. It is going to be so much fun. Oh, Kathy is saying, love the sweater, Chef Jeremy. Thank you. It is a llama. So I've got my llama Christmas sweater on. The llama really loves cream puffs, so I was like, we'll bring llama today so we can have some cream puffs. There'll be a different one tomorrow. Holiday sweaters, highly encouraged throughout our baking process today. But thank you everyone for hopping on. It is so good to see you all. And for anyone who is new to my classes, my name is Chef Jeremy. I am our pastry chef at Truffle Shuffle, and I just love making sweet treats. Eating sweet things, making them, everything about something that has a little sugar in it makes me so happy. And this is one of my favorite ways to celebrate the holidays is with the croquembouche. It is our crowning achievement. It is our cream puff Christmas tree and tower. And I am just so excited to share it with you all. It's going to be a process. There's a lot that goes into it, but it is so worth it. And you end up with something that you're just like, glamorized. You're like, oh my gosh, this is from the heavens. So thank you all for joining in and coming over. And so we've got another chef in the kitchen today. We've got Chef Tucker DJing us away over here.
Oh, DJ, that's my DJ.
And we got Cole in the background.
That's my DJ.
He is our content specialist over here, getting a few little videos as we're bouching today. And so everyone knows, I call making a croquembouche bouching. So that is the verb form of making a croquembouche. So today we are bouching. Yes, yeah, Pam and Pat are saying we love DJ Tucker. Aww. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be here. And so everyone, a little clarification on what's going on. If you ordered that kit, you should have gotten a little decorator's kit. It's got a few fun things in it to kind of help bring the beautiful croquembouche together. It's got some gold leaf, some piping bags, a piping tip, some gloves, just things to help with the assembly of this. And the rest of this class was a shopping list. So grabbing those ingredients, bringing them into your kitchen, and making something beautiful. And we're going to do this class in two parts. Part number one is today we're making our cream puffs, making our fillings, getting those ready to go, and then we'll assemble this tomorrow. And this is always something you want to assemble kind of day of. So I'll give some tips as it comes to assembly on how we'll do this, and I'll definitely send out video recordings of everything so you have this to reference from time to time. But with that, if you're feeling ready to go, ready to get into some bouching, give me a thumbs up over here. And then get into our mise en place. Oh, I've got so many questions. So probably can't take you to an event on Sunday. Carol, it might last a little bit. What happens with the caramel that we put this together with is in the refrigerator, it kind of starts to melt because sugar soaks up water. And so it usually holds up, but instead of having a crunchy caramel shell, it becomes a softer caramel. And sometimes it hits the integrity. I've had a bouche fall apart in the fridge because it was sitting there for too long. So that's the only risk there. And then, oh, can we make even smaller trees? Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah, if you wanted, you could do like 5 cream puff trees, a layer of 3, 2, 1, kind of making some small, cute ones. They are beautiful holiday gifts if you had like a little small plate that you wanted to make it on. Ooh, we got great questions. And so as you all know, questions in that chat bar. And I love how many questions we're getting. This is a class that I want all the questions on. I want to answer anything. It is not something that many people have made in their lives, so we're doing something awesome today. And with that, oh yeah, and Tucker wants you to know song requests as well. So if you're like, I only make croquembouche to this specific song, you're like, this is the song I'm going for, you can definitely invent that today. And Dasher, Dancer, and Viskin are asking how many balls will this make? It will make about, I would say 60 to 70 balls. And it just depends on our size of piping, but we have a nice big batch, so we'll have a lot of cream puffs. I made sure there was enough so that you could snack on a few today. Yeah, because I'm like, you can't make a cream puff and not snack. Okay, good. We're getting thumbs up. Ooh, Christmas rap. That is a great song over there, Pam. And so with that, I recommend having some kind of beverage around, your holiday beverage, whatever it is, get that ready to go. And I'm going to go through our mise en place over here. Yeah, I see it. The Zamora family who's got something out. Yeah, Sam and Gary over there. Welcome, Gary. Yes, we got some deliciousness. And so we're going to pull out our recipe and we're going to go through our mise en place today. And today we're making pastry cream, we're making little cream puffs. And so the things you'll want to have in your kitchen, I've got a couple of larger pots today. If you want, you could use the same pot and rinse it between, but I want some larger pots. We're making quite a bit of pastry cream. We're making quite a bit of cream puff mixture. So some of your larger pots, I wouldn't use a small saucepan, but if you have a nice large saucepan, that will work beautifully. And so I've got those on the stove ready to go for me. I've got a whisk and a wooden spoon. I'll whisk as we kind of make our pastry cream. We will make our cream puffs with the wooden spoon because that is how I learned to make it. It is the favorite way to make it over here. You'll need a knife or a paring knife, something to kind of poke some holes in the bottom of your cream puffs as we're filling them. You want to have a couple of parchment lined sheet trays so that we can pipe our cream puffs onto something. I recommend parchment or a silicone baking mat. You can do these on like a foil lined sheet tray, but you do want to grease it very, very well. And then I got questions. We need it for Sunday. Should we wait and assemble that morning? The class will be on video. Yes. So if you're wanting to assemble this on Sunday, you can assemble it Sunday morning. We're assembling it tomorrow for Christmas Eve, but I will record the video and make sure everyone gets that video out there. And then Pam and Pat are asking, our 5 cups of milk should be at fridge or room temp? Mine are out right now, so they can be from the refrigerator or room temp. We're just going to heat them up in our pan. The other things I've got a little round piping tip and some piping bags. And that's just to pipe out our pâte à choux and fill our pastries today. I like the round tip. It gives us a really beautiful choux. And then I've got some nice large piping bags. Any piping bag will work. Andrea's asking how big is the tip. Today I'm using an Ateco 805, and I believe that means it's like 5 millimeters across. I might be wrong on that, but it's a pretty small tip. It's like the size of my pinky. So for reference on there. But that's enough size so you can puff out a little bit of that cream puff mixture. If yours is a little bit bigger, that'll work. If it's a little bit smaller, it'll work. Don't go too much smaller. We don't want it to come out in little like beads of mixture. And even if you don't have a piping tip, a piping bag or a Ziploc bag with a little hole cut on it will work beautifully in that case. So I've done it with the gallon Ziploc bags, cut a little hole in the corner, and you can pipe out that way. It's hard to get it quite as smooth, but it'll work beautifully in a pinch. Ooh, we got a lot of good songs coming in. Yeah, Tucker's building a beautiful playlist for us. And those are the main tools we need today as we make our pastry cream. There's a few other tools for tomorrow. And my biggest recommendation for tomorrow is having a pair of like plastic gloves, whether they're latex or silicone or they're like work gloves, just because we'll be dipping the cream puffs in caramel and it gets hot. And I have burned myself many times, and having a glove that you can put on and off is really, really helpful for that. But those are the tools we're using today. I've also got one medium bowl over here so we can get our pastry cream together. And so, if you've got those, give me a thumbs up. If you've got questions, let me know. Okay, good. I'm getting thumbs up for everything there. And so as far as ingredients go for today, we've got our pastry cream ingredients. We've got about 12 eggs over here, a vanilla bean or some vanilla extract. We've got a cup of sugar, a half cup of cornstarch. I've got 5 cups of whole milk. I've got about 6 ounces of dark chocolate between 60 and 75%. And I've got a half stick or 4 tablespoons of butter going on. And then for my little choux pastries, the pastry that encases this all, I've got 2 cups of flour, 2 sticks of butter, 2 cups of water. I've got a little teaspoon of salt and sugar, and then I've got 8 to 10 eggs. And so those are the ingredients we're using. They're mainly staple ingredients in the kitchen. And today we're going to start on our pastry cream, which is a little bit different than how the recipe is written. but we want to give that pastry cream a little bit of time to chill. And Tina and Kathy are asking, using potato starch instead of cornstarch, how much should we use? I would cut it down by about a third. So I'm trying to math right now. 1 second. Let me math for a second. We're doing... Okay. 47 grams. Yeah, 47 grams should be good over there. Yeah, if you're gramming it out, 47 will be good over there. And the reason you want to use less on the pastry cream is potato starch is a little bit more gummy and it has a little more structure than cornstarch, so you want to cut that down a little bit. Yes, and the pastry cream will definitely hold till Sunday. So pastry cream lasts in your fridge for about 5 to 7 days. So you've got that. You can make that today. The choux will last for a few days. So everything we're making today, you can make today, and then you can assemble Sunday. And yeah, these are great questions coming in. Please, please keep them rolling in. But our pastry cream. So today, I wanted to give us the treat of 2 separate pastry creams. So we're doing chocolate and vanilla. We're going to make a vanilla base. And then we'll fold in a little bit of chocolate in there on half of it so we can have chocolate and vanilla cream puffs. And I call it the Croquembouche roulette, where you don't know, am I getting chocolate, am I getting vanilla? It's kind of the fun of the game. You can definitely mark them if you want, but it is a fun way to kind of play Croquembouche. And so we're going to get started with our pastry cream. And pastry cream is just another term for pudding. It's called crème pâtissière in French, but it is just pudding. And so to get that pudding started, I want to grab my milk, and we're going to get our milk simmering on the stove. With my milk, I want to go in with my pastry cream, or with my vanilla bean. And so we've got a vanilla bean over here, and it is just the most beautiful way to get vanilla. If you do not have a vanilla bean, you could definitely do this with a little bit of vanilla extract as well. And yeah, Carol, this is going to be in our bigger part. Oh, okay. Dasher, Dancer, and Vixen say, aren't we cheering first? Yes, okay. If you're feeling ready, if you want to get a little holiday cheer, just give me a little thumbs up. Let me know it is time to go. Yeah. We are ready to go. Okay, we'll get a little cheers, everyone, if you've got a little beverage. Oh, yeah. Cheers out there, everyone. Please make sure you're sipping away. And Lauren and Stefan are asking, how much vanilla extract? I would do about 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And so I'm going to go into my large pot with this. And I'm getting my 5 cups of whole milk in there. And I'm not going to turn it on quite yet. I want to get my vanilla bean in there first. And so I've got my 5 cups of milk. And then it comes to our vanilla bean. Vanilla beans come from an orchid plant, so this is like the stamen of the orchid, I believe. And so to get all of our little seeds out of this pod, I want to take the tip of my knife, run that tip of my knife through our beautiful vanilla pod lengthwise. So I'm just slicing it in half lengthwise. And that'll open up our vanilla pod. So you can kind of see in and see all of the seeds over here. So you see inside, we've slit it in half lengthwise, and you can see all these little baby vanilla seeds. Once I've got that sliced open, I'm going to take the back end of my knife and just scrape that pod. And this is going to remove all of those little vanilla beans. And so we're scraping that pod clean, getting all of those beans out. And those beans are going to go right in with my milk. And so my beans, and I'm going to toss my pods into the milk as well. That's going to infuse some flavor into this. Yeah, and Ethan's asking, are we doing the pastry cream first? And yeah, originally when I wrote this recipe, I was thinking we'll do the pastry, the cream puffs, the pâte à choux first. But then as I was thinking about it, trying to think of the flow, I decided pastry cream is going to be really nice to do first because we do want to give it a little bit of time to kind of chill and start to set. So that's why we're doing our pastry cream first over here. And so, yes. Yes, who had a question?
Apologies, should the milk be on?
We're going to turn the milk on right now. So once you get those vanilla beans in, we'll turn on the milk. And so just get it on to a medium-low heat. We want to get this up to a simmer, and I'm just going to whisk in my vanilla beans. They'll kind of break up as we cook, but I like to get them starting to break up. And so medium-low heat, we've got a few other things to put together, so I want to give us a second to get everything else together while that's coming up to a simmer. So do watch that pot. I don't want any boilovers in the kitchen. I want to make sure we are nice and safe. So medium-low heat to bring that up to a simmer. The one note I like to make, we're adding those vanilla pods in the long ones because they have flavor and it's going to infuse in there. If you ever were disregarding those, I'd recommend drop them in a little container of sugar, and it makes vanilla sugar. It takes about a week for that sugar to kind of activate and pull, but it'll make a vanilla sugar. And so we've scraped our vanilla bean, popped it into our pot with our milk, and we're just getting that over a medium heat. The next thing we want to do is separate our eggs. And so we're using only yolks in this recipe. And we need 12 egg yolks. So it's a lot of egg separating. So I like to bring over a little bowl. And I'm just going to crack all of my eggs into one bowl to get my separating. You could do the pass back and forth between the shell. But my favorite way to separate eggs, I'll get all of my eggs in one bowl. And then I'll just pull the yolks out and put them in the bowl I need them to be in. And anytime I'm cracking an egg, I crack it on the countertop. Because if you crack it on the edge of a bowl, it kind of pushes shell into the egg. And as we're doing this, be careful with those eggs. Try not to break the yolks. And that's only so that you have clean whites. And you can use those whites to make all sorts of meringues and delicious other things. So we need about 12 yolks. And I'm just getting my 12 eggs cracked. And then we will separate all those yolks. And then once you have all of your eggs in one bowl, you can go in with your hands and just use your fingers to pull those whites out. And this is my favorite way to separate eggs, especially if it's something like 12 eggs. And it saves me just a little bit of time. So I never really get cracked yolks as I do this. And it keeps our eggs really nice and whole. And so you can separate however you'd like. I just like to share my favorite way to separate eggs. It's a little bit messy, but it is worth the little bit of work. And so I want to come out there, see our yolk separating going on as we're doing this. So if you want to show off your yolk separating skills, you can show off your little yolk dance. Be careful with those yolks, but I want to see them out there. Woo, yeah, I'm seeing them. We got them at Jill's. Yeah, Andrea, we're crushing the yolk separation. Ooh, yeah, Molly and Lee's.
Chef Madeline.
Ooh, oh yeah, Madeline's like, I got these done. Yes.
Gary over here.
Oh, perfect at Sam and Gary's.
Dasher, Dancer, and Vixen.
Oh, we got a party of yolks. Oh, yes.
Beautiful. Got Chef Carol over here. Excellent.
Ooh, Carol, amazing.
Nice. Sherry and Neil doing this great job.
Oh, yeah.
Here, excellent.
Alright.
Wow, we got some eggs cracking it up a little bit. Nicely done, everyone.
Yeah, we're pulling out those eggs. Ooh. Jack has a tip over. Jack and Jen are saying if you put the egg into an empty bowl and use an empty plastic water bottle to pull up the yolks, it works really well. Ooh! Okay, are we still separating eggs at Jack and Jen's? If you are, we want to see this technique. I always like learning new techniques. Okay, we are camera off today, but if you want to demonstrate, we want to see, we're using that suction to pull it out. But we've got our 12 yolks. And so the yolks are going to offer a lot of thickness in here as well as a little richness. It's also going to give our pudding a little yellow color. So we're thickening with our yolks today and our cornstarch. It's a balance of both, so we get a really beautiful thick custard. And so I see some yolks still separating, so I'm going to give everyone a second to separate those yolks. My other tip, if you're separating your egg whites and you get yolk into it, the best way to remove that yolk is with the shell. The shell pulls yolk out of whites. The yolk wants to go to the shell, so you can use that shell to pull out those yolks. And for your whites out there, you can make meringues, pavlovas, Swiss meringue buttercream. Like, those whites are valuable, so keep them. You can make your egg white omelet. Ooh, and it is just so many delicious ways. Yeah, and my trick to an egg white omelet is I don't love full egg whites, so I do a little bit of one whole egg and a few egg whites. Ooh, Madeline over there, what are we showing off? Is that? Oh, angel food cake? Ooh, yes, that is a great way to use your excess whites. Angel food cake, you've got your egg whites, your sugar, your cornstarch, and that'll be a beautiful way. Egg whites will keep in the fridge, I would say, about a week to 2 weeks. In the freezer, they keep for quite a bit of time. So you can freeze egg whites and use them again. Sometimes when they unfreeze, depending on how they were frozen, they get a little bit funky on the whipping, but a lot of times they'll whip up beautifully. So just be cautious as you're freezing. Oh yeah, Sherry and Leah are saying Italian almond broomstick cookies. Yeah, so there are millions of ways to use those rights. Yeah, if you've got ideas and you want to share, drop those in the chat. Ooh, Amanda and Addie are saying our package just arrived. Yes, I'm very happy to hear. And so we've separated those yolks. Go ahead, just double check, make sure your milk's not boiling over. If it's getting really hot, you can go ahead, turn that heat down. Ooh, yeah. Stark is saying whip them with sugar and add them to store-bought eggnog to make a fluffy nog. Ooh, I've never even thought of a whipped eggnog. That sounds so good. Sherry and Leah are asking, do you scald the milk? Yeah, so just bring it up to that boil and then we'll turn down the heat. We don't want that to boil over. And so the other thing we want to do, we've got our medium bowl. We're going to go into that medium bowl with our 1 cup of sugar and our ½ cup of cornstarch. And I'm just going to go ahead and whisk those together so that they are ready to go. I like to give them a pre-whisk because if you add the yolks into it while it's unwhisked, sometimes the cornstarch gets a little bit lumpy in there. So we got the cornstarch and the sugar all whisked up, and then we're going in with our egg yolks. And so 3 ingredients coming together, our ½ cup of cornstarch, our cup of sugar, and our 12 egg yolks. And it'll make a really nice paste. And we just want to whisk till this is nice and smooth. And so once you're seeing smooth in there, that is good to go. And you all know I love to see the smooth mixtures out there. So once you've got your smooth egg mixture, show it off. Let us see the smooth eggs. Ooh. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it come together over there. Yeah, Madeline, Allie, and Laura, that's looking really good. Ooh, Madeline, perfect. Yeah, team lunch over there, crushing it. Oh, yeah. Oh, Amanda and Addie, yes, that is just right. Ooh, and Tina and Kathy's, yes. Oh, Molly and Lee, perfect. Oh, Anna Grace showing off. We got Sue whisking away. Rachel, ooh, yes. Oh yeah, Sam and Gary over there crushing the game. Oh yeah, Carol's about to go in with the yolks. Bethany, oh yes. Okay. Ooh, at Stark's house we are whisking away. Oh yeah. Ooh, yes, at Lauren and Stefan. We got those egg yolks coming together. Perfect. And so, we've got this smooth mixture. We've got our hot milk mixture that's infusing with that vanilla. And we just want to slowly incorporate these together. If we added that egg mixture directly to this milk mixture, the eggs would curdle and you get like a curdled custard. And so we're going to slowly introduce it and just bring the temperature up on our milk mixture, on our egg mixture slowly. And so we're going to be adding with one hand, whisking with the other. So I like to keep my bowl nice and stable. And the best way to do that is you fold your kitchen towel, give it a little spin around, making that little kitchen whip. And then you can make a little halo on your workstation that your bowl nestles into so your bowl does not wiggle around as you're getting it. Pam and Pat are asking, should the milk be simmering at this point? Yeah, we want our milk to be simmering. I turned mine down a little bit because it was starting to boil over, but we do want simmering in there, so you should see a little frothing and a little bubbling. If you're not there quite yet, turn up that heat just a little. And Mary's asking, do we pull out the vanilla pod first? Mary, I like to leave the vanilla pod in for as long as I can, and I'll strain it at the very end just so it continues infusing that flavor this whole time. And so once we're at that simmer, we're going to start adding bit by bit this milk mixture to our egg mixture. And you can either do this pouring, you could use a ladle, you could use a half cup measurer, but we want to get some of this milk mixture into our yolk mixture. And so I'm going to go in and just whisk in my first little addition. And so I'm just starting about a cup, a half cup. You just want to get that liquid moving. And again, my milk's at that nice simmer. And then I'll go in with my next addition. Once this starts to thin out, that's when you can start adding quicker. So that first addition is going to be a little harder because our egg mixture is thick, our milk mixture is thin. But after that first addition, the eggs thin out, and we can add a little bit quicker with our milk. And we're just going until we have brought up that temperature, adding about half of our milk mixture. And so this is tempering, just gently incorporating everything together. And we want to do this until our bowl gets nice and hot. So I'm feeling the bottom of my bowl, and my bowl is feeling nice and warm. It's feeling nice and hot. I went ahead, turned off my simmering cream, or milk, and we'll slowly go back and incorporate. And I know we're still incorporating, so I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but let that slowly incorporate. Once the bottom of your bowl is feeling nice and warm, it is good to go. That is the tempering process. So again, cup by cup, adding that milk mixture until our bowl is nice and warm. And Carol's was saying, do we need to wait till the milk bubbles? Yes, you should wait on that milk till you just start to see that milk simmering, bubbling a little bit. Just because that's telling me it's at that like boiling point, and that's where we want to add it in. And then once it's come up to that simmer, we can turn off the heat and add that milk in. And so, give me a thumbs up if you're with me, you're tempering. Thumb in the middle if you're like, my milk has not quite come to that boil. I need a few minutes more. Okay. We're at like 50-50. So yeah, if you haven't come to that simmer yet, give it a minute. And yeah, if you have questions about the tempering, let me know. I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. But I'm seeing a lot of good tempering happening. And so again, that's just to ensure that our eggs do not overcook. If you overcook the eggs, your custard gets a little bit gritty. And it's very funky with pastry cream because we are going to bring this up to a boil, but we're going to carefully boil it. And I'll give more tips on that once we go back into our pot. And so Amanda and Addie are asking, what are we supposed to do when the bowl is warm? When that bowl is warm, we're going to pour this back in with the mixture that's in our saucepan, so the milk mixture that's left behind. And I'm just going to leave it off the heat for now. And so I'm off the heat for now. I want to give everyone a chance to kind of get that milk mixture coming together. And so Tina and Kathy are asking, so what should we see in that bowl? In that bowl, you should see it's coming up. It's going to be a yellow mixture. It's going to be just a little thicker than your milk on its own because of that cornstarch and that egg. And we don't really want anything but the temperature to rise. So the main thing that we're looking for on there is you'll feel a nice warm on that bowl. Does that help over there at Tina and Kathy's? Yeah, so we want that bowl to be warm just so we know our egg yolks have come up to temperature. They're not going to get shocked going into that hot milk. And then once we've incorporated it and our bowl's warm, we're going ahead and going right back into our saucepan. And I'm off heat now. I want to give everyone a chance to get to this point. And so if you're at this point, you can show off your saucepan with that beautiful pastry cream glaze. And it'll look like this when it's back in that pan. Yeah, at Rachel's, that's looking great over there. Ooh. Yeah, Allie and Laura, perfect. Yes, yes. Ooh, yes. Oh, Sam and Gary, that's looking great. Oh yeah, Anna's perfect little pastry cream base. Oh yeah, Tina and Kathy. Yes, that's exactly what it's supposed to look like. Ooh, we got Chris in the house. Perfect. Yeah, and Doug over there. That's looking just right. Yeah, Chef Starks. Amazing. Ooh, Madeline, look at that. We're stirring away. Russ and John. We got the tempering happening. Yes, Amanda and Addie. Yeah, Carol's tempering away. Ooh, at our reindeer household, yes. Casa de Reindeer over there. You are crushing it with our, yes, yes. Chef Pam, perfect, perfect. And so, once we've tempered that, we're going to go back on the stove and cook this until it's thickened. And the things that I want to have kind of on deck, knowing they're going to go in just a minute, I'm going to get my 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter ready to go. I want my chocolate on deck. And I'm going to have some kind of bowl to land this in. So whatever containers you want to land this in, that is perfect. So the way we're going to do this, we'll come to pastry cream, which means we'll get this thickness on here. We'll add in our butter. Once our butter is melted down, we'll kind of pour off half of that mixture, set it aside, and then we'll add our chocolate to the rest and get that nice chocolatey flavor. And I like to have this all on deck so that right when my pastry cream's nice and hot, I can go in with the butter, so the butter melts, I can separate that, and then I can go in with the chocolate to really make sure everything's coming together seamlessly and melting down nicely. And so thumbs up out there if you're with me, you have tempered, and you've got your few things on deck. Okay, perfect. So we're going back onto the stove now, and I'm just going to go onto a medium heat, and we want to whisk this constantly. And we're going to whisk this until it thickens up and you just see the first bubbles in the pan. We don't want to bring this to a rapid boil. You just want to see it bubbling for about 30 seconds. And then Pam is asking chocolate, how do you want the chocolate prepped? I've got little chocolate appeals, so they're like little chocolate pieces. If you don't have that, you'll want to chop up that chocolate so you have little chocolate pieces. Yeah, Amanda and Addie are saying we are bubbling, turn off the heat. Yes, once you're bubbling, you'll turn off the heat and add in that butter. And so, bubbling in this is telling me that our eggs have started to thicken and our cornstarch is thickening as well. And so, this is very different than eggnog. You never want to bring eggnog, which just has eggs into it, a boil, because those eggs will curdle. But we've got the cornstarch in here, and cornstarch only activates at a boil. Yes, Russ and John, you add the tempered stuff back into the milk. So, tempered mixture goes back in with the rest of our milk, and we bring this up to a nice boil. And so I'm going to stir just until it's lightly boiling and bubbling, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But this is going to thicken our eggs and thicken our cornstarch. And you want that little bubble in there, that little thickness to form. And I do this with my whisk because the whisk kind of helps de-lump things. This mixture gets so thick and sometimes it gets a little lumpy, and the whisk is going to be the best way to de-lumpify this. And so for this, I'm between medium heat to medium high heat, and we're just stirring constantly until this thickens. And we'll see a few little bubbles popping through the custard as it thickens. Oh! And so as we're waiting for the thickening, I see at Andrea's we are already doing the sip and stir, but it is a great time to pull out our sip and stir if you've got something you want to sip on. And stir it up. We're stirring so we just get some thickness going on. Ooh, yes. And you'll see, as you're whisking, oh yeah, Andrea over there, we got thickening going on, we got sipping, we got stirring. And so, in my pot, I'm starting to see thickening happening, and I'm seeing some bubbling going on. So it looks kind of like bubbling lava. I'm going to let it bubble for about 30 seconds, and then I'll go in with my butter. And that's just activating the cornstarch. So again, it's nice and thick. I let it bubble for 30 seconds. I turn off the heat, and then go in with my butter. And it's just that quick. And don't worry if you haven't thickened quite yet. Give it that time. I promise it'll come up to a nice thick pastry cream consistency. And the consistency we're going for is nice and thick in there, so you should see some viscosity. And it happens like in an instant. Yeah, Allie and Laura, I'm seeing it over there. We got some thickness going on. And so again, once you get that thickness, turn off the heat, add in your little bit of butter. And so just 30 seconds of that bubbling to activate the butter, and we've got this beautiful custard coming together. And so, is everyone feeling good about the custard? We might not be boiling yet, but thumbs up if you're feeling good about getting there. I know we got some thumbs in the middle. Okay, yeah, let it continue boiling. It'll get there. If you're like, this is going very wrong, give me like a wave so I know we gotta check this out. Okay, Bethany over there, what's going on in your kitchen? We're coming over. Oh no, the whisk. And then, yeah.
It's just really slow.
Okay, if it's really slow, you can turn up the heat just a little bit on it. Yeah, turn up the heat just a little bit. It takes time, but I promise you, it'll go and it'll start going, and within like a minute or two, it'll go from like really runny to start thickening. So take that time with it. If you want to turn up your heat a little bit, it'll come to that thickness. You've got the eggs in there, the cornstarch, they are your big supporters. It's just about getting up to the temperature. Perfect, perfect. Yeah, so keep whisking. If you're not quite there, just keep whisking. After the butter melts, we don't turn the heat back on. We're going to go ahead, take this off the heat, and I'm going to pull out half of this to be my vanilla pastry cream. And if you're like, I like chocolate more, you can pull out less for your vanilla. And at this point, I'm going to pull out those vanilla beans as well. So my vanilla beans are coming out. And I've pulled out about half. And be careful pulling out those vanilla beans. Maybe use a fork. It is pretty hot in there. Once I've pulled out half of those vanilla beans, we're going to cover this directly with a little bit of plastic wrap.
Chef, is this a good time for a taste test?
Yes, this is a great time for a taste test. So if you need a pudding taste test, you should definitely have a little pudding taste test.
Thank you. Always feed the DJ.
After you've had your taste test, we're going to put our piece of plastic directly on top so we don't get a film forming.
DJ approved.
And so we've got our half of our vanilla out. Carol's asking, once we take it off the heat, how long should it take to get the thickness? So, Carol, you're going to cook this on the heat till you get thickness. Then, once you're got that thickness, that's when you take it off the heat. Yeah. So, keep it cooking and give it another, minute or two. It'll thicken up. And Russ and John are asking, what happens if you add the butter too early? That butter would just melt in earlier, and it'd be totally, totally okay. Yeah, Chris, that's looking good. Sam and Gary are saying this is the best vanilla pudding I've ever had. Ooh, we got thumbs up from Aaron. And so, yeah, you can lick the bowl. So then the remaining pudding that we have, we want to make chocolate. So to make it chocolate, I'm going to add all of my chocolate and just stir it in for a second and let it start to melt down in that residual heat. And so I'll let it sit for a second, let that chocolate melt down. And again, I am extremely approximate about this. I just did about half and half. Ooh, Tina and Kathy are asking if we have jam or lemon curd for a third flavor. How would we do that? So, lemon curd, I would mix like a 50-50 ratio of vanilla pudding with the lemon curd and just pipe that in. Or you could even mix the lemon curd with whipped cream and make like a whipped lemon curd and pipe that in. And the same thing with the jam. Just add to taste till you get a taste you like if you wanted to do jam and lemon curd. And that's a great question. And so, again, we've put off half of our vanilla mixture. Once we got it simmering, it's thickened up. And Anna Grace is asking, was that chocolate unsweetened or semi-sweet? It was dark chocolate around 60 to 70%. And yes, Lauren, we add all of the chocolate. And then we're going to go ahead and whisk that chocolate in. Once that chocolate's had a minute to sit in there, it'll melt down and it'll whisk and you'll get a really nice chocolate pudding going on. And so we got two beautiful puddings forming. We got our vanilla. We've set it in the bowl covered with plastic wrap. We've got our chocolate. And I know some people are still thickening. So, Carol, has yours come up to that boil? Have you seen a little boiling in there? I am not sure why it wouldn't come up to that thickness. Can I see into your pot? Let's go see into your pot.
Okay, and of course, as soon as you want to see it...
Oh, did it just
thicken?
thicken?
As soon as you want to see it, it's starting to thicken. Oh, you can't see it.
I can't see it, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's starting to look really good. Yeah. You're doing really good over there.
I just want to be clear. It was not doing this, like, magic Jerry.
I'm telling you, it's just the magic of like a few seconds, and it goes from like, oh, this is not right, to it is perfectly thick. Okay. And so that looks great. Oh yeah. Kirsten out there is saying all of the chocolate except the piece I tasted was in there. Is that okay? Yes, that is the perfect amount of chocolate. I did give a little chocolate for tasting. Yeah, Anna Grace, that's looking beautifully chocolatey over there. And so I want to get a thumbs up. I know we went through a lot. Again, we boiled that till it thickened, added our butter, turned off the heat, split off half for our vanilla, half for our chocolate. So I kind of want to see what our pastry creams are like. If you have questions, let me know. Allie and Laura are asking, should we put the chocolate mix into a separate bowl? Yes, put that in a separate container, cover it with plastic wrap the same way we did our vanilla pastry cream. And so we'll just get that into our bowl. Then cover it with our plastic wrap. And these are our pastry creams. So I know we're doing a lot. I see some great pastry creams. Give me a thumbs up out there if you're feeling good. Give me a wave if you're like, I'm having issues. Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up around. So I want to come around, show off those pastry creams. Yes, Doug is saying a lot of chocolate cream seems to be falling into my mouth and not the bowl. Doug, that is a good problem to be having in the kitchen. Ooh, but I want to see our pastry cream out there. Show them off. Ooh, yes, it's Doug's. They're looking great. Yeah, Allie and Laura. Ooh, we got pastry cream happening. Oh yeah, Andrea's perfect. Molly and Lee crushing it. Oh, Team Launch over there. Oh yeah, Pam and Pat. Yeah, Chris's house. Yes. Ooh, yes. We got Chris and Doug. We got the Campbell family. We got Sam and Gary. Perfect. Madeline. Yes. Ooh, Jasper, Dancer, and Dixon. We got our elf in the background crushing this. Yes. Ooh. Oh, Carol, how is it tasting? Okay, good. We are passing the taste test. Yeah, Pam and Pat. Rachel over there looking great. Ooh, Chef Pam, yes. Oh, Russ and John, yes. Look at that perfect pastry cream. Oh yeah, and Amanda and Addie's. Woo! Oh yeah, Kirsten over there. So this is our pastry cream. This pastry cream itself could be a dessert on its own. Put that in a custard cup and you have a treat for the days. Yeah, Tina and Kathy, I'm seeing it. And so this is delicious. I would not be upset if you just ate all the pudding and we're like, uh-oh, we gotta fill our cream puffs with something else, because it is so good. And so has everyone tasted theirs? You've given it a taste. It's tasting good. Okay, good. I see taste, thumbs up, smiles. And then Bethany, I want to double check over there. Did you get thickness? Okay, good. We got thickness. Yeah, I see pastry cream forming. Perfect. And so with these, covered directly with plastic wrap, and that's an important part. Covering it directly with that plastic wrap is going to keep a skin from forming. And Lauren's asking, if mine has little bumps, does that mean it's curdled? That could mean there's a little bit of the egg that overcooked. If you've got little bumps in there and they're bothering you, you can put it through, like, let me see if I have one. you can put it through a fine mesh strainer to strain out any little lumpy bits. And so it can mean two things. Number one, it can mean just a few eggy bits overcooked a little bit. It could also mean that it's just not consistent. A little piece cooked a little bit more and a little piece cooked a little less. So that's the two things it could mean. And so don't worry if there's little lumpy bits in there. Sometimes that happens with the pastry cream. If you want to remove them, you can definitely strain this through a fine mesh strainer and they'll come right out. It'll strain out any cooked eggy bits and it'll kind of smooth out the texture, break up any bigger bumps. And so Lauren, let me know if that helps you out over there. And I knew I had one, but yeah, a fine mesh strainer, something like this, you can strain it through. And so these, we're going to go ahead and let them cool down. I'm going to give them about 10 minutes to cool down at room temp, just so they aren't super hot, and then we're going to pop them in our fridge to cool them down a little bit further. I would say go directly into the fridge, but I do like to let it cool down just a little bit because they are piping hot. And so this pudding is like, the chocolate one especially reminds me of my time with my grandma, where she would make her pot of fresh pudding and you'd eat it out of the pan and it was so good. So that is like the inspiration behind this pudding. So enjoy that. I'm telling you, it's a dessert on its own. You can do that chocolate pudding in cakes. You can do custard cups. You can do it with brownies. Everything is delicious with these. Your vanilla banana cream pie, you can do anything you do with vanilla custard. So they are delicious powerhouses in the kitchen, and it is one of the most important skills to learn to make pastry cream. Yes, Pam and Pat are saying this is the best. Yeah, we got pudding today. And so, ooh, Allie and Laura are saying, we're going to go and put it's outside to let it chill. We are 8 with a wind chill of -35. Okay, yeah, outside is perfect. Don't let it freeze. That sounds like freezing weather, so we don't want this to freeze. Yeah, but if you've got the nice wind chill outside, you can pop this in the snow, let it chill down in the snow. Just don't let it freeze. We don't want our pastry cream to freeze out there. Oh my gosh, yeah, everyone is saying it is frigid winter Chicago here. It's a freezer outside. Oh my gosh. Yeah, California winters are very weird. It's like sunny outside and 50 degrees and yeah. But if you've got that nice cold extra refrigerator, you can pop your stuff into your extra outside refrigerator. Yeah, Zamora family saying in Phoenix it's 66 degrees and sunny. Yeah, do not put your pastry cream outside in Phoenix. That will ferment and do some interesting things. I don't know what that'll do, but it'll make it quite interesting. And so with that, give me a thumbs up if you're feeling ready to go into pat a shoot. Okay, I'm getting thumbs up. And so for our shoot, yeah, Jack and Jen are asking, when should we preheat our oven? We're going to preheat our oven right now as we're making our pastries. So we want to get our ovens to a nice temperature of around 425. Go for 425. So we're preheating our oven to 425. Oh, and I love, okay, as Sam and Gary, that is a beautiful shirt. I'm not allowed to say that, but I do love the sentiment over here.
Yes.
Okay. And so, yes, Sam, or Gary, I will not refer to you as the sous chef in that kitchen, okay? You are the full chef.
Chef in charge.
Yeah, chef in charge, yeah. So we're getting our ovens to 425.
Should they do convection bake?
1 second. And so with these, I typically do regular bake. If you've got a convection going on and you can do convection, you can take it down about 25 degrees to 400. Anytime I'm working with convection, I reduce my oven temperature about 15 to 25 degrees, just because with that fan blowing the hot air around, the oven temperature gets a little bit hotter. It's kind of like the wind chill, but in the opposite direction. So I don't know what that's called, the sun burn? No. It's not the wind chill, but it's the same idea. So drop the temperature just about 25 degrees if you're doing convection bake. But I like it regular bake for these. And then we're pulling out our ingredients for our cream puffs, our pâte à choux. And so again, and this recipe is the recipe my grandma taught me. It is so easy to remember. I've got 2 sticks of unsalted butter, 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of water, 8 to 10 eggs. And I like to use unsalted butter in this. If you have salted butter, you're going to omit that teaspoon of salt we add. I always bake with unsalted butter and add a teaspoon of salt, just so I get a little bit more control. But if you're using salted butter in your kitchen, just omit that salt we're going to add. And we're going to get this started on our stovetop. And pâte à choux is called, it translates to dough of cabbage. So it's cabbage dough because these puff up, and the French thought they looked like little cabbages. And so it's a classic French pastry. And it is so delicious. They're like the little eggiest buttery clouds. They'll puff up, and the eggs are the biggest part of this. And so the eggs are the most important part. They're what's going to give this the nice puff. And so we've got our larger saucepan, and we want to use a nice large one. And I'm going to go in with my 2 sticks of butter. And I'm just going to start melting those 2 sticks of butter down. And these are 2 4-ounce sticks of butter. And we can melt these down between a medium and medium-high heat. This is where the wooden spoon comes out. You can make this with all sorts of tools, but my grandma taught me to make it with the wooden spoons, so we're doing wooden spoon today. And we're going to melt down those 2 4-ounce sticks of butter. Once they are melted, we'll go in with our 2 cups of water, a teaspoon of sugar, and a teaspoon of salt. And I like to just wait till my butter's melted so that we can bring everything up to a nice boil together. And cooking the choux pastry is going to be the most important part of this. Cooking this, as we're doing this, we're adding our butter and water. And then we're going in with our flour, cooking this down and cooking out water so we can add more eggs. And so I'll give you some tips as we're cooking this down. Dasher, Dancer, and Vixen are asking, is it okay to pre-crack the eggs now? Yeah. As we're letting this kind of come together, if you want to pre-crack your eggs, you can get those eggs pre-cracked in a little container ready to go. And so my butter is almost melted. Once I get melted butter, I'll go in with my water and we'll bring this up to a boil. And so my butter is just about melted. And we're going to go in with our water now and bring this up to a boil. And you can do that over a medium-high heat. So I got butter, 2 cups of water, and we're going in with 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. So a teaspoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt just to sweeten, bring out our flavor on this. And we got Pam asking, should we start with 8 eggs or do 10? So start cracking 8 and then you can go in with up to 10. So start with 8 and then we'll see if we need those extra 2 eggs. And so we've got 2 4-ounce sticks of butter, 2 cups of water, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of sugar. We're bringing that up to a boil, and on deck I've got 2 cups of flour. And I like to have my flour pre-measured in a container so I can dump it all in. And we're going to bring this mixture to a boil Once we reach a nice boil on this, we'll go in with that flour and we'll cook a nice dough. And so the cooking of the dough is the most important part of this. We want to cook out a lot of moisture so we can fit more eggs in here. So the more water we cook out of our dough, the more eggs we can put in and the more rise our cream puffs will get in the oven. So that's like the science behind a cream puff. We're making this dough. We can't cook it with the eggs because the eggs would do weird things if we cooked them. But we can cook out the water and make room for those eggs as we make our dough. And so we're bringing this mixture up to a boil. And you want a nice rolling boil on this. If you've ever tried to make choux pastry and you've got to that point where you get like flat cream puffs, it's because this dough did not cook out enough. And there was too much water, so it couldn't hold the eggs. So the batter was a little runny, and then it does not rise up. So that's why this step is so crucial over here. And so thumbs up out there if you're with me. You got your 2 cups of water, your 2 sticks of butter. Okay. I'm seeing some thumbs up, some thumbs down. So everyone, get that in the pot and just bring it to a boil. And I'll give everyone a second to kind of catch up at this point. And so we're almost to that rapid boil. Once we have that rapid boil, we're gonna add in our flour. And for our friends who have not quite gotten to that rapid boil, we're gonna go ahead, because we don't want our water to evaporate, but I'll show you what we're looking for, so watch, and if we have questions, we can go ahead and answer those. Bethany's asking how quickly add the salt and sugar after adding the water. I added them pretty immediately after I added the water. It's not really important. We just want that to get in there with the water so we get the flavor. And then Sue's asking whole eggs or egg yolks only. For this, we're using whole eggs. And Carol's saying salt and sugar go in. Yes, salt and sugar are in. So, I'm at that rapid boil. I want to go in with my flour now. And even if you're behind me, just come up to that rapid boil and then go in with your flour. Don't worry. If you need to turn your stove up a little bit to get to that rapid boil, you can. So I'm going in with that flour. And we're just going to stir this rapidly and try to get any lumps out of here. And so it's going to look funky for a second, and then it'll come together into a dough. I'm still on that nice medium-high heat, and it's still nice and steamy once I add my flour. And we're going to cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes and let that water boil out. This is where we're cooking out that dough to get the water out. And so again, butter, water, sugar, and salt came up to a nice boil. Once we were at a nice rapid rolling boil, we went in with our flour, and now we're just cooking that dough for a minute or 2, or 2 to 3 minutes to kind of get some of that moisture to come out. We're still on that medium-high heat. It's still nice and steamy, and I'm just keeping this dough moving constantly. And this is the key. This is what I was talking about. This is where that water's coming out to make room for our eggs. So our dough is drying so we can fit more eggs in here. After about 2 to 3 minutes, you'll see a film is forming on the bottom of your pan. And this is if you're using like a stainless steel pan. If you've got a non-stick pan, you're not going to see that film. But that film's telling me, okay, the dough has had a minute to kind of cook out, and I'm sticking to the bottom of the pan now. Things are starting to look good. So a little closer, you can see that film forming on the bottom of my pan, my dough sticking. So if you're with me, just give me a thumbs up so I know we got that dough cooking. Things are looking good. Okay, perfect. We got a few thumbs up, few thumbs in the middle. But that's what we're looking for. Once you get to this point, we're going to go ahead and turn off the heat. The other thing I like to do is just kind of peruse my dough, see if I'm seeing any flour lumps. If you see flour lumps, hit it with your little wooden spoon. Try to break out any little flour lumps. So I've cooked about 2 to 3 minutes. A lot of moisture has come out, and it is sticking on the bottom of my pan. That is a beautiful, beautiful sign that our dough is looking good. And as it comes out, it'll look something like this. A thick, pasty dough. And so if you've got that thick, pasty dough, show it off. If you've got questions, please let me know in the chat. But I want to see our doughs out there. Ooh, yes. Stark over there, that's looking nice. Sam and Gary, yes. We got a nice thick, pasty dough. Madeline, yes. Yeah, Tina and Kathy. Ooh, at Doug's, yes. That's looking really nice. We got thick dough. Rachel, perfect. Ooh, Allie and Laura, yes. Yeah. Andrea looking good. Yeah, Ethan's, we got that nice cook down. I see the film. Yeah, at Team Pam's, Team Chef Pam's, we got it. Yeah, Anna Grace, that's looking good. Aaron over there, we got Susan. Ooh, and Susan, you may want to cook yours down for a minute or two more, Susan over there. Yeah, and you'll be good to go. Ooh, good, yeah, I see. Madeline is stirring. Yeah, Carol's stirring, and we're stirring. Ooh, at Dasher, Jansen, and Vixen. Yes, we got it going on. We got cheers in the air. Perfect. And so, one more time, just reiterating the cooking process. Once we got that rapid boil, we added in our flour, cooked for 2 to 3 minutes. The dough got nice and thick. So if your dough is not looking thick, you can go ahead, cook it a little bit longer, but it should be getting nice and thick. And the other thing is, if you're not using a nonstick pan, that film is a really good sign. There's that little like film on the bottom of my pan. That is a good sign that I've cooked this long enough. Doug is asking, how do you know if it's too thick? Doug, I don't think it gets too thick. I think when I saw at your kitchen, it looked good. Yeah, sometimes you can cook out more moisture. If it's like extremely, extremely thick, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to add in an extra egg or two. Past that 10 eggs, you might go up to 12 eggs. And that's just going to give you a little bit more of a delicate shell. And so, thumbs up if you're feeling good about that dough. I saw a lot of really beautiful doughs. Wave your hands if you're having big issues. Big issues out there. Ooh, yeah, Chris and Rebecca, I'm seeing it. Russ and John, are we just waiting for the boil over there? I see our thumb in the middle. Okay, so, but you feel good about what the process is? Okay, perfect. Yeah, if you have questions, let me know. Ethan saying, my dough keeps breaking up and doesn't look solid like yours. Ethan, can I come out and see your dough? Ethan, it's freezing up a little bit. It looks like it's just a little bit drier than mine. But I think it'll be okay. It looks like it'll be okay. It looks just a little bit drier. But I'm not too worried about it. You should be okay over there, Chef. Okay, perfect. And then Sherry and Leah are asking how many eggs, large or and extra large. This is, the recipe I wrote is 8 to 10 large eggs. I have never cooked with extra large eggs. I always buy large. That is my standard. I would say you're probably going to go 7 to like 9 on extra large eggs. But yeah, I standard use large eggs. If you're using extra large, you'll probably go 7 to 9. But the thing I'm going to show you is how to do this by texture. So pastry is a very exact science, but there's also a lot of art to it where you're learning the perfect textures on things. So once we get that dough off the stove, we want to let it cool down for a minute. If we add our eggs in while it is piping hot, it's going to start cooking our eggs immediately. So even to cool it down quicker, you can pop this into a separate mixing bowl You can pop it into a separate mixing bowl than the pan, and that'll give it a chance to cool down. Yeah, Bethany's asking, should the custard be in the fridge now? So yeah, once your dough comes off the stove, go ahead, pop your custard in the fridge. And then we do have our dough. Yeah, Russ and John, that's looking really good. Yeah, that looks just right. We've got this nice thick dough, so that is perfect. And so we've got that dough in the bowl. We're going to let it cool for a few minutes. A good way to cool it is just to kind of move it around a little bit. And so we can just kind of stir it, and we're going to stir until it stops steaming up a little bit. It doesn't have to be cool to the touch, but it should not be hot to the touch. And so just give it a few minutes of stirring, let it cool down. And then we will add in our eggs. And the reason that we're not adding our eggs yet is just because if we add it while it's super hot, it's going to pre-cook those eggs a little bit and we won't get enough rise in the oven to get that center. Anna's asking, is mine too wet? Let me see what's going on over there. Anna, that looks like it should be okay. It looks like it's still super hot, so as this cools, it'll thicken just slightly, but that looks good. Ooh, yeah, and Tucker is reminding everyone, do not forget to hydrate. It is hot in the kitchen. We were just over the boiling stove. We're mixing, and so have some hydration. Cheers out there, everyone. We just want to give this a couple minutes to cool down. And at this point, we're going to make our batter manually. If you wanted, you could do this in a stand mixer as well. And Susan saying, can you see if mine's too wet? Yeah, Susan, we're going to come out to you if you want to show off that dough. Susan, yours is looking a little bit wet over there. But I think as long as you add the eggs and it doesn't get runny, you'll be good to go. So it's a little bit wet. The main thing is, as we're adding our eggs, we don't want this to go into like a puddle so that when we're piping it, we don't get little flat ones. We want it to hold a little volume. And so make sure as you're adding those eggs, if you only add 7, that is fine. It'll still get puffed, but you don't want it to kind of be runny. So if it gets to a point where it's runny, that might run into some issues there. And I'll show as we're adding our eggs what we're looking for on these. Lauren and Stefan are asking, is tomorrow's class at 12 PST or 1:30 PST? It should be at 12 PST. Yeah, not should be. It is at 12 PST. I was saying it should be because I was like, I don't know where 1:30 came from and if I'm off schedule, but it's at 12 PST. And then Doug's saying, I accidentally added the 8 eggs while it was on the stove. So, Doug, did you cook the eggs? Was it on the heat when you added the eggs? So, Doug, you're going to try to pipe it. If it was on the heat, those eggs may have cooked, and I don't know if there's anything we can do for the dough over there. And I'm super sorry. But yeah, if those eggs went on and the eggs cooked, you might not get rise. I would say bake off a few, see what happens. If you get a little rise in there, that's phenomenal. If not, you might have to redo the dough. Because we don't want to get those eggs cooking. Lauren's asking, we should wait until it's not hot, right? We can wait till it's just warm. Like, if you can touch it and it's not feeling like a hot tub, it's kind of like a tepid feeling, that is fine. A little bit of warmth in there, but we do not want it hot. If you're like, I could cook an egg in my pastry, that is going to be too hot. If you're like, this is the temperature of my frying pan, that's a little too hot. Mine is still fairly warm, but it is not hot. Yeah, we don't want to fry our eggs on our choux pastry. I don't know if that's ever been done before, but we don't want fried eggs on choux pastry. Yeah, Carol, you want to keep yours stirring. I see it's still steaming a little bit, so keep it stirring for just a few more minutes. But once that steam dissipates, that's a good sign to me that like the temperature has dropped. And we're getting the question, should we put it in the fridge or just keep stirring? We can just give it 5 minutes to cool down. And so, I'm going to get everyone on the same page. We're going to come back and do this together, but I'm going to give everyone 5 minutes to let this dough just cool down. And then we'll come back, add in our eggs, and pipe this out. Because I want everyone to do this at the same time. And Doug over there, I want to make sure you have good pastry. So if you want, in these 5 minutes, you can make another pastry or you can try piping out a few of those pastries, see if they work. I am worried with those eggs being cooked though. And so everyone, we're going to play a little holiday music, have a sip of that cocktail, let yourself kind of relax. We've got a few last steps, and then we'll go ahead add our eggs. So just let it sit. At this point, if you've stirred a few minutes, you can just let it sit for a minute, and then we'll go in with our eggs. Oh, Chef Pam, great question. Where do we position the racks? I like to do a middle rack. If you want to do two, you can kind of position them so there's a little space, kind of top of the lower third and bottom of the top third. Middle is the best. Yeah, middle will give you the most even cooking, but if you're doing two trays.
Oh my goodness, Aaron. Yes. That sounds delightful. Cabernet fudge sauce.
Yes, Aaron.
Right over, Aaron. You're me.
Yeah, Aaron, with the Cabernet fudge sauce, fold that into some whipped cream. It sounds like a delicious filling. I say play with it. Yes. Play with it. Try it out. Yeah, a little whipped cream with Cabernet fudge, and I think we're in a happy place. Yeah. Okay, perfect. And so, we're cooling it down, letting that dough go really nice. The audience in my studio is building up now. We got so many people in here waiting for cream puffs and waiting for croquembouche. And we're just a little bit away. It's going to take some time to bake these, get the piping done, but it is a labor of love, everyone. And so, is everyone feeling good about their dough? Okay, good. I've got thumbs up about our dough. And we are getting whammed today. Tucker loves to wham people, so we are getting whammed today. Yeah, Whamageddon. And so, if you have like a wham dance move that you want to show off, we love to see them. If you've got your little wham dance. Elizabeth lost the game over there. Yes, Elizabeth, we have all lost the game. Ooh! It is Tucker's favorite game to win. Carol said I made it till this class. Carol, you got so close. Oh, thank you. Yes, slay. Have some fun with the dancing out there. Ooh, Christian, that is a great comment. It seems like all the dough came out while it was cooking. That happens normally. Sometimes a little bit of the butter will seep. So don't worry about that. I promise it'll all come back in as we add our eggs. Ooh! Allie and Laura are saying don't taste the dough. Yeah, this is not the dough to taste. It is not the most delicious dough. Oh, I've got a dough story. So, I make cream puffs pretty much regularly throughout the year. When I was a kid, I made them for my family and I wasn't filling them yet. But my sister knew they get filled with pudding. And so she saw the bowl of cream puff batter and got a big spoonful and ate the cream puff batter and was like, Jeremy, this is the worst pudding I have ever had. And I was like, that is because it is not pudding. That is our cream puff batter. So cream puff batter and pudding, very different tastes. Yeah, and Kristen's saying it seems like our butter is coming out of the dough while cooking. So sometimes with that dough, a little bit of butter will seep out. So as long as it's just a little bit, it's kind of minimal. It's not like butter everywhere. It is totally fine. As we add the eggs, it'll come back together. Okay, and Team Launch wants me to check theirs. Team Launch, yeah, that's looking good. Give it a little stir so I can see the texture better. Yes, yeah, as our eggs go in, you'll get a beautiful, beautiful batter coming together. Perfect. And so, we've had those few minutes to cool down. We want to go ahead and get our eggs into here. Oh, Ethan's like, I've been adding the eggs. How do I know when to stop? Ethan, I'll show you with the texture. So let me catch up. Let me show you with the texture. So we are ready to add our eggs. And so I'm going to add our eggs 2 at a time.
Is this a fucking piece of eggshell I got in there?
If you get any eggshell in there, just pick out that little eggy bit. And I like to add 2 eggs at a time and just gently incorporate them. I find 2 eggs at a time is the best. If you add all the eggs at once, sometimes you get little bits of egg stuck in here. And it's hard to get that texture together. And so we're just mixing to combine, getting those first 2 eggs in. And again, it's just warm. It's not cool, but it's not hot. And it gets a little funky at first, but then as you keep adding, it'll kind of pull together after a second. And so 2 eggs are in. I'm going to go in with my next 2 eggs.
That was impressive cracking, chef.
Oh, I've cracked a lot of eggs. So yeah. The one-handed egg crack is an important thing to learn. It's very fun. I do break my yolks when I one-handed egg crack, but it is a fun skill to learn.
I haven't mastered the not breaking the yolk on the one-handed crack item.
I get about like a 50-50.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I just crushed them.
Try working on a breakfast food truck.
Can they use a stand mixer, and what attachment should they use?
Eric, you can definitely use a stand mixer with the paddle attachment.
We love working smarter, not harder. Good job, Team Eric.
Yeah. Stand mixer is great. Nice. Ooh, oh yeah. Ethan, I see we got the stand mixer
Chef
going.
Ethan over here.
Yeah. If you want to switch to that paddle and it'll combine just a little bit better over there. And so, I'm getting close to that 8 egg mark. I've got 6 eggs in my batter so far. And this is a little tedious to get it together. But it'll come together. As you're doing this, your dough's going to turn a little bit shinier. Yeah, Carol is saying it is arm day. Yeah, getting our workout in as we make these cream puffs. And so you'll see this dough starts to get a little shinier. It starts to have a little bit of flow to it. That's a beautiful sign with this dough. And so my dough is still staying nice and thick, and that's an important part of this. You still want a nice stiff dough. That's what's going to give us the chance to pipe these out and get a little bit of height on them. And so I'm coming in with my last 2 eggs to bring me to that 8 egg mark. And this is just a messy job. It's funky as those eggs come in. And what I'm looking for texturally on this is that when I pick up a spoonful of my batter, it should kind of fall off that spoon and form a V. So you see it falls and forms that V. My batter has a little bit of elasticity to it, and it's falling to form that V. And so that's the technique I've learned to kind of check this out. If your batter is sticking in a glob on the spoon, that's a sign, add another egg or 2 eggs. Yeah, Carol, I think you want a little bit of egg in there, just a little bit more. Yeah, Pam, that's looking good. We've got that fall in that V. Yeah, and so I can come around if you want to show off your batter. Again, what we're looking for. When you kind of give it a shake, it'll fall and you'll get that little V almost with your batter. Ooh, yeah, I'm seeing some good batters. Yeah, Pam, that's looking good over there. Yeah, it's Sam Gary's perfect. Ooh, yes. Oh, yeah. Tina and Kathy, yes, we're crushing the batter game. Chris and Rebecca, maybe one more egg. Yeah, and you'll be right there. Yeah. Ooh, Russ and John. Yeah, we're getting the eggs incorporated. We got that nice batter coming together. Molly and Lee, I see our batter coming together. Ooh, yes, yes. Yeah. Allie and Laura, how are we looking? Yeah, perfect. Anna over there, that's looking great. Susan, that's looking nice. Yeah, I'm seeing great doughs going on. Woo, yes. Team Launch looking good over there. A little more egg. Yeah, Bethany, we got that nice V forming. Things are looking good. Yeah, Chef Pam, Amanda and Addie over there. We're bringing it together in the mixer. And Susan over there, I'm seeing you might go in with one more egg. Madeline, that's looking good. Yes, we got nice dough going on. Ooh, yes, Lord and Steven. Yeah, Russ and John, that is looking good. Okay. Perfect, perfect. I'm seeing it at Rachel's. Yeah, Chef Rachel, that's looking good. And so, ooh, a team dasher, dancer, mix. Yeah, we got the V. We got it going on. It's looking good. We got that falling in ribbons. And so, that is how I test my cream puff batter. Yeah, I'm seeing it happening all over. Yeah, Carol, we got it. Ooh, yeah, Lauren and Stefan, I'm seeing it. Carla and Paul, maybe one more egg in there just to loosen lightly and you'll be good to go. Yeah, Dan and Kelly, that's looking good. Yeah, Chef Ethan, look at that, Chef. Oh yeah, Allie and Laura, yeah, we got the nice fall. Perfect, perfect. Okay, Dasher, Dancer, and Vixen, it looks like maybe one. Yeah, one egg. So, again, that fall I'm looking for, it kind of falls in that V. My batter is still nice and thick, so it's pipeable. It's going to hold its shape. And these are like the most important things for the cream puffs. That cooking it so we get the moisture out. Jack and Jen are saying, will you please check ours? Yeah, Jack and Jen, I'm looking for you. Yeah, Jack and Jen, you've got the nice V forming on there. Yeah, you're good to go. Sherry and Leah, we're seeing it out there. Yeah. I see the V forming. I think we're good to go. Maybe one more egg. Yeah, Andrea, that's looking good. Perfect, perfect. So I'm seeing good batters. Go in with another egg or two over there at CKS. Oh, Bethany's saying totally random. Did you say to keep our sugar, our vanilla bean, and add it to our sugar? If we didn't steep our vanilla bean in the cream, you can add any excess vanilla beans to sugar. So if I was making a recipe where I just wanted the seeds, I take those excess vanilla beans, put them in sugar, and let it sit, and it makes a really nice vanilla sugar. Yeah, today I disregard it. Oh, and we're getting the question, what are you drinking over here? It is a holiday mix. We've got a little grenadine, some syrup in there. We've got lime juice. We've got vodka and a little sparkling seltzer on top. So that is the special drink we had. Oh, Doug saying made a second batch, just waiting for it to cool. I'll catch up. Perfect, Doug. Elizabeth saying I put in 10 eggs and I'm not getting the V. You can go past 10 eggs. So I would go no more than 12 eggs. And that is just when it dries out a lot. If you dried it out a lot in that pan, that's where you need a little bit extra. Yeah, Carol's saying it took me 11. So it is very like touch and go. I've added a ton of eggs, and depending on your egg sizes, eggs vary in size a little bit. I've gotten cartons where the eggs are supposed to be large eggs, but they're smaller. I've gotten cartons where they're large eggs, but they're huge. So it does vary a little bit. And so, yeah, Chef Pam, I think we're good to go. It's looking good. CKS, add just a little bit more eggs. Mary saying up to 9, can you look? And I'm looking. But what we're looking for is just that nice V. Yeah, Mary, that's looking good. So if you're not getting that V on there, add those 2 or more eggs. And then get that V. Yeah, Susan, it's looking good. So if you shake it, you get that nice V fall. That looks just right. And I'm checking a few more over here. But I'm seeing a lot of good dough. Sherry and Leah, you're looking good. Carla and Paul, that's looking good over there. It falls. Yeah. Sue, I'm seeing it. Elizabeth, yes. Chris and Rebecca. Perfect, perfect. Molly and Lee, go ahead, pick that up and give it a little shake. Yeah, I can see it's a good consistency. And so, I want to get everyone piping. If you have more questions about it, ask questions. I'll come back to you if you're like, I'm not ready to pipe. Let me get everyone into piping mode so we can get them in the oven. Team launch, it's looking good over there. And so, we're going to get piping going on. If you're like, I'm still worried about my dough, once we get piping going on, we'll go ahead and finish this up. Chris and Rebecca are saying, is it okay if there are lumps in there? Give it just a little beating to get those little lumps out. Ethan's asking, how big do I pipe? And so, we're going to pipe little mini cream puffs. And so, yeah, if there's lumps, just give it a little extra beat to get those out. Pam, we're using an Ateco 805 tip, which is about 5 millimeters across the opening of that tip. So it's about the size of my pinky. My pinky just fits through the end of that tip. And Lauren, we're preheating the oven to 425. And so, I'm going to go ahead and start piping. If you're like still worried about the dough, let me come back to you in a minute. But I want to get people who are ready piping out there. And so, I'm going to get into my piping bag, that piping tip. And I'm just going to lightly trim off the end over here. When I put that piping tip in, I want about half of that tip to show through. So I've cut off enough of the bag so that half of the tip shows through. And then I'm going to go ahead and twist my bag and press the little bit in. And we can go ahead and fill up our bag about halfway with this pâte à choux. You don't want to fill past halfway because then the bag becomes unruly and hard to use. And so I'm grabbing my dough and just getting a nice little filling in that bag. Don't worry about getting all that batter, and you have a lot of batter. And then we're going on to our parchment lined sheet tray. And we're just going to pipe out. And you'll see my bag isn't overfilled. I can kind of, at the end of that bag, I bunch everything together, give it a nice twist to seal the bag. And that's my tip when you're using the pastry bag. You want to twist to seal that bag. In Team Launch, you cut it so that about half of that tip is showing through. So when you're cutting it, just make sure you don't cut too much on the back. But I would cut off like about like a ½ inch maybe. But play with it, get that cut just right. You can always take off a little bit more of the bag. You don't want to start with too big of a hole in that bag. But about half of that tip is showing through. And then I filled my bag, twisted it shut, and now we're going to start piping. And so I'll show you how I pipe one, and then I'll come out and make sure our bags are looking good. And so when it comes to piping these, I want them to be about the size of a quarter at the base. A little quarter cream puff is going to give us really nice dainty cream puffs that are going to puff up, be perfect for our croquembouche. So you can draw little circles on your parchment to be a guide, but I'm going to come in, pipe out a little mound, and then once I get to the top of that mound, I'll twist, stop squeezing, and twist my tip. I'll come besides it, do the next one. Once I get to the top of that mound, I'll stop squeezing and twist my tip. And so the important things to know on this, and I'm going to pull this out of the pan so you can see. And if I'm looking at these, they are more $half sized than quarter sized. So I'm sorry about that, misspoke, but I've got about $half sized. They're about a ½ inch tall. And we want those nice mounds so that we get a puff. If you're piping it and it's just this little thin disc that's like a quarter inch, you're not going to have enough dough to get your puff there. So we want like ½ inch little mounds of dough. So I'm squeezing. I'm not moving my tip at all. I'm just squeezing out. Once I hit that little ½ inch point, I'll go ahead, twist the tip. Yeah, and so about ½ inch tall on those. And then my other tip, as you're doing this, so I've got my tip, it's about where I want it, ½ inch away. I'm squeezing, letting that mound form. Once I form my mound, I stop squeezing and just twist my wrist to remove that tip. And that's going to help keep you from getting too many crazy little tips on top of yours. I hold my bag straight up and down and just squeeze from the top. If you have too much batter in your bag and you're like, I can't squeeze from the top, you can always kind of bring your hand down on the bag, and I'll show this at this camera. If you've got so much batter that it's like hurting your wrist to squeeze, you can bring your hand down and kind of make a smaller bag at the bottom part and just pipe from there. Squeeze, make that little $half mound that's about a ½ inch tall, and then twist. And I'm leaving about an inch between each one so they have some space to move and rise. And you can use templates to help with the piping. You can use trace little $half on there to get this piping. But the most important thing, you get that nice mound in there. If you don't have enough batter, you're not getting enough rise. And baking this first batch is going to give you a really good vision into the next batch.
Are you Chef Jeremy?
Yes.
Can you please look at hers?
Yes,
Okay.
where's that?
Dasher and Dancer.
Okay, yes.
We think you might need another egg. We've got 10.
Give it one shake. I think you're good. I see the V. It looks good to me.
Okay. Vixen
Yeah.
won the bet.
Okay, Vixen won the bet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, that looks good to me. And so, everyone, the thing about pastry, I like to share this, is it is very much, you're learning this feeling. So today, we saw everyone's dough, but you're learning that feeling of, let me look at my dough, let me see, is it falling in that V shape? And it took me a little bit of time to understand that science of it. So don't worry if you're like still a little confused about it. It takes time. And so really quickly, give me a thumbs up if you're feeling good about your batter out there and you're feeling good about the piping. Okay, good. I'm getting thumbs up. And so, I'm seeing great piping. If you've got a tray piped out, we want to see our trays of shoe pastry. Ooh, yes, Carol! Yes, Russ and John's. Yes, we got beautiful shoes. Amanda and Addie crushing it. Yeah, Bethany over there. Ooh, Chef Pam. Ooh, Tina and Kathy over there. Sherry and Leah. Yes. Ooh. Oh, Anna Grace. I'm seeing beautiful things. Pam is over there crushing it. Yes, and team launches, we're getting that nice placement going on. Yeah, Chef Stark, look at those! Oh, Alan and Laura, amazing! Oh yeah, Andrea over there, we see the piping going on. Kristen over there, Kristen crushing it, yes! Yeah, we got Chris and Rebecca doing some piping going on. Yeah, Ethan's sort of piping away. Oh, amazing. Ooh. Okay, and I'm seeing some questions coming in. How can we do it if we don't have the piping tip? So, if you have a piping bag, you can just cut off the end of that piping bag and make the little tip. So we want to cut off just a little bit of our piping bag. I would say about a ½ inch so that you just have a little tip. So maybe start with a ¼ inch. You can always cut off more. You could do this with a Ziploc bag as well. And so just getting that same little tip size. And again, we want that nice tip. If your tip is really small, it's going to be hard to pipe out those perfectly round bags, so you can kind of slice them off. If you don't have a piping bag, a gallon-sized Ziploc bag will work as well. Rachel's saying, I put them too close. Should I scrape off and start fresh? You could scrape off every other one, Rachel, and then on your next tray, you can pipe it fresh. And then Russ and John can use a baking stone tray as opposed to a metal one. The baking stone, as long as you have a nice nonstick mat on it or something nonstick you can bake on it, they might bake a little bit quicker in there. Chef Pam is asking, can we put them in the oven? Yes, if you've got a tray ready, you can put them in the oven. And Sam and Gary, I'm seeing yours over there. You might go back one more time and just do a little dollop on top. They're looking just a little thin. So if you pipe just a little more on top, it'll give you a better rise in that oven. And yes, so Jen and Jack are saying, so they're 1 inch apart. Yes, 1 inch apart on my tray, so they have a little space to rise up. And I want to show the piping one more time. Yeah, Susan, those are looking great. Again, I come in with my piping bag. It's straight up and down. I'm squeezing to make this little mound. Once I get that mound, I whip the tip, and I'm good to go. I'm about a ½ inch away, squeezing, make that mound. I stop piping, and I whip the tip. If you have little nipples on the tips, you can use a little bit of... It's what they're called. If you have little points on the tip, on the tops, you can put your finger in a little bit of water and just press those away, and it gets rid of any little nibs on the top. And so, once we have our first tray ready, yeah, Carla and Paul, I'm seeing it. Looking great over there, chefs. And so, once we have that first tray, pop it in the oven. Use this as your gauge. You can check this tray, see if they're rising up nicely. If they're not, you might have not piped quite enough batter. And so, we're going to get these in the oven. But I'm very excited. Sherry and Leah are asking, do we put 2 trays in at a time? Yeah, Sherry and Leah, you can. You always kind of want to rotate at some point because sometimes that top tray will get more cooked than the bottom tray or vice versa. So just check on them. If your oven's cooking it evenly, you are good to go. And so we've got our 450 degree oven. I'm going to pop these right into my oven. And we're going to bake for about 25 minutes on these. So about 25 minutes. Oh, Chef Pam, I'm sorry. I just said 450 and I realized it is 425, not 450. And in the recipe, I said to reduce that heat to 375 after they go in. Since we're baking so many trays, we can just bake off at 425 and they will be perfectly okay. And I've tested that, I've worked on that, so you can keep that 425 consistent and you'll be okay. And they'll bake off really nicely. It might go down to like a 20-minute bake time with that 425. And so everyone, we're crushing it. We have cream puffs in the oven. We have pastry cream built. And I know this is a long marathon of a class, but thank you so much for pulling through this. We're going to have some delicious desserts coming together at the end of this. And so we can go ahead, continue piping these out, and just start getting a few trays going. If you've only got one tray in your kitchen, just do it one tray at a time. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you can do it one tray at a time, piping these out. And Carol's asking, will we fill them today or tomorrow? And so this is a great time to kind of discuss the croquembouche creation process. And so I originally have us filling them today, assembling tomorrow. If you're like, I'm not going to assemble tomorrow, I'm going to wait till Christmas Day to assemble, I would recommend filling tomorrow and then assembling. And the reason for that is I like my choux when they sit in the fridge overnight and kind of that pastry cream kind of sinks into it. It gets really delicious. If they sit for too long, the choux starts to dry out a little bit in the fridge. The pastry cream starts to dry out. So if you're wanting to do these on Christmas, I would say fill tomorrow. If you're going with me tomorrow and building the croquembouche tomorrow, go ahead and fill them tonight. And Sam and Gary are asking, what temp should the oven be? We're doing 425 Fahrenheit. And if in the recipe I said take it down to 375 once they go in, but since we're baking so many trays today, just keep it at that 425 and bake for about 20 minutes. Ooh. And then we've got the question of altitude baking. Altitude baking, do that same thing you do with any recipe. I think we drop it around 25 degrees for altitude baking, so if you do that with other recipes, do that with this one. Okay. Yeah, Carol's saying I'm going halvesies, filling half today, half another day. Yeah. Also, you should definitely fill at least a few today so you can have a treat. We've done all this work, so you want a treat. But today in this class, we'll go ahead, fill them through, and then tomorrow we'll assemble. If you're waiting, wait till Sunday. Your pastry cream stays in the fridge. Your choux pastry stays out at room temperature in an airtight container, and then you can fill them Saturday for Sunday. And then Tina and Kathy are asking 20 or 25 minutes. I'm going to say 20 minutes to start because we're baking at 425, that higher temperature, and then maybe up to 25 minutes. And then do we need cooling racks when they come out? I don't really use cooling racks. I pull my parchment paper off of the pan and let it sit on the counter. So you can just remove that parchment from your pan, kind of transfer to your counter, let them cool on the counter. And then, as far as other things go, if you're waiting till Sunday for these, and just cream puffs in general, I give them around a 3 to 5 day shelf life. 3 days is like the maximum I like to go on them. And Mary's asking, how many puffs do we need? Let me do math really quick. One second. I'm going to do some calculator math and I will give you a number for puffs. I'm going to say, for the one we're going for, you'll probably need around 50 puffs total. So you'll have extra puffs. I gave us a ton of batter, so we have extra puffs. If you are not filling all those puffs... We got the Jeopardy music going. I did get our answer. Around 50 puffs for our 7-inch cream puff board. But you should have some extra for snacking on, enjoying. If you have extra cream puffs, you can freeze that choux pastry after it's baked and then just pop it in your oven at 425 for a few minutes to refresh it. like 5 minutes just to give it crispiness again and fill them. So you can freeze and fill these later. Yes, Tucker is saying that is so many, but about 50 should get us right there. And it depends on the size you're making. Tomorrow, I think about 50 will get us right there. 50 to 60, we should be good to go. And so, thumbs up out there if you're feeling good. We've just got piping going on. If you have questions, please keep them coming. I want to make sure I answer all the croquembouche questions. It is such a process. Okay, good. I see cocktails out at Dasher, Dancers, and Vixens, so we got thumbs up and cocktails. That is a good thing. Kathy's asking, how do the extra cream puffs freeze? So freezing them, I like to freeze the empty shells on a sheet tray. Once they're kind of frozen, transfer them to a nice container and store them in that container in the freezer, airtight. And then once you want to use them, pull them out, put them on a baking sheet, bake at 425 for like 3 to 5 minutes just till that crispiness has come out. And then you'll go ahead, fill them like we're filling them today. Ooh! Ethan is saying done and in the oven. Oh yeah, we're in the oven over there. Perfect, perfect. Ooh, look at those cream puffs. Yeah, and we can take a little peek. The cream puffs may start rising in yours, may not be rising quite yet, but I'm seeing some good progress. And so at around the halfway point, that's when we should start seeing a little bit of puffy happening in our puffs. And so I'm going to keep on piping mine out over here. Keep those questions running. We're just going to have some music going, and then we'll come back and we'll fill these. And so everyone feeling good. Piping away. If you're done piping, you can kind of clean up a little bit, and we'll get ready for filling in a minute. Perfect, perfect.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. You know it doesn't show signs of stopping. I bought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbye. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Woo! But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Snow on the ground, love in the air, sleigh bells are ringing. This is what it's all about. The fire is warm, the angels are singing, and I don't wanna miss a single thing. Don't wanna put an end to all this cheer, but as long as you're with me, it's always the time of the year. You make every day feel like it's Christmas. Never wanna stop feeling like the first thing on your wish list, right up at the top. I can't deny what I'm feeling inside. Nothing fake about the way you bring me to life. You make every day feel like it's Christmas. Every day that I'm with you. Look at the lights, twinkling bright, 24/7. Every inch of Central Park is covered in white. This could be heaven, and I don't want to miss a single thing. Christmas. Never wanna stop feeling like the first thing on your wish list. And right I can't deny, I can't deny what I'm feeling inside. Nothing fake about the way you bring me to life. You make every day feel like it's Christmas. Every day that I'm with you. No matter the season, my heart keep beating. You better believe you make every day feel like it's Christmas. Every day that I'm with you. Every day that I'm with you. Every day that I'm with you.
I love the winter weather, so the two of us can get together. There's nothing
And so,
sweeter.
we're getting questions about doneness on these. What are we looking for? So, we want to look for them to be puffed up. They'll puff up. That happens about halfway through. And we're looking for a full golden brown on there. Sue is saying, mine has 13 minutes to go. When do you take them down? Sue, if you're getting that golden brown and it's got 13 minutes, still turn down your heat a little bit on there. Some ovens, like the ovens I tested in 425 worked for that full time. But if your oven's getting it to a dark brown, go ahead and turn down that heat. We do want to go for that full, like 15 to 20 minutes at least. 20 minutes is probably the minimum. What we're looking for on these is golden brown around. Inside, we want to let it sit so it dries out. And so, give me a thumbs up if you're checking your oven, you're seeing like that puff going on, because that is the most important part. We've got puff. Ooh, good. I'm seeing puff. Okay, ours have been in 13 minutes, already golden brown and puff. So if you've got golden brown, turn down your heat. We do want these to go in for at least 20 minutes. So golden brown is telling me it's pretty set. I want that 20 minutes because I want the interior to dry out as well. So mine still have a little bit of time, but the way you can check this, if you pull one out and kind of open it up and look at the interior, if it's ultra moist inside, that is not a good sign. You want to keep that baking so it can dry out. What happens is if it's super wet inside, as you pull it out, there's not enough structure built up and it'll just collapse. And so you can pull one out, check on it. If it sits for a minute and it stays up, yours are probably good to go. If you pull it out and you see it just falls in on itself, that's a sign you want a little more time. You can drop that temperature and keep it going. And so, just a little more on the science of the cream puff. What happens in there? We've got our little puff full of eggy goodness. As it goes into that hot oven, those eggs start to kind of puff up, give that air, give that volume. After the eggs do their puffing, the flour starts to gelatinize and set, and that's what gives us that beautiful cream puff round. So that's what we're looking for. The flour and the eggs to both gelatinize. Same idea when we were cooking our pastry cream. The eggs set and then the cornstarch set after. Flour and cornstarch are almost equivalent in their process in baking. So the eggs are setting, puffing. The flour sets a little bit later. Once that flour is set, your cream puff is set, good to go. But we want to make sure we get that flour set. So the golden brown is a good sign that you're almost there. The second sign is just a little bit of time drying out in there. So you can drop the temperature, but if you pull one out, you open it up and it's looking super, super wet inside, keep them in another few minutes, drop the temperature by 25 degrees. If you pull it out and you've got a really, really nice interior that's moist but not super, super wet, you are good to go as well. Yeah, Anna Grace over there. Yeah, we want to come out, see yours. That is looking really great. And so we've opened the interior. You see it's steamy, but it's looking dry. We've got nice puff. That looks perfect. That looks really good. And so, thumbs up out there. I know that was like a long explanation for a few little questions, but thumbs up if that's giving you the right input. Tina and Kathy, that looks really nice over there. Yes, yes, we got beautiful puff. Ooh. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that puffy goodness. And so if yours are not there yet, don't worry. It is okay. Everyone has a different oven. Everyone takes a little bit of a different time. But yeah, we got nice puffs going on. And so thumbs up if you're seeing the puff in the oven. You're seeing that golden brown. Mine aren't golden brown yet. Might need a few more minutes to get to that golden brown. But we got puffiness going on. And so, check as you're going. I'm waiting for golden brown on mine, but check as you're going. Ooh, and if you have puffs coming out of the oven, or if you have a cocktail you want to dance around with, either are good. I want to see our puffs. Ooh, yeah, show off puffs if they're coming out. Yeah. Oh, at Lauren and Stefan's, we're seeing beautiful puffs going on. Ooh, Tina and Kathy, yes.
This is the holiday cheer.
Holiday cheer, Ala and Lori's at Russ and John's over there. I see our beautiful. Ooh, yes. Oh. Yes, those look so good.
Beautiful.
Ooh, yes. And Sam and Gary are asking, should we turn ours halfway through? You can if your oven's being uneven on the heat. If you're not seeing any golden brown, I wouldn't turn, because when they're kind of pale and white, they're very fragile. And if you rotate, the air coming in can deflate them. If you've got a little golden brown, you can go in and rotate to keep that nice and even. And then Tina and Kathy are saying ours are funky shape. I'm seeing them over there. That is like, they're not perfectly round, but they'll work beautifully. Sometimes the cream puffs just get a funky shape depending on how they're piped out. But they're looking really good over there, chefs, okay? If mine are flattening as they wait to go into the oven, will they still rise into balls or little puffs? Sometimes they might not. Let me see them over there, Chef Sue. Those look like they have enough that they'll still give a little rise. So try that one. If they don't, you can kind of pull them off the tray and give them a little bit more flour. But I think those ones will rise. They look like they still have enough volume on them. Ooh! Aaron, yes! Look at that! It's cream puffin time. You guys, you are marathon champions in the kitchen today.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are crushing it.
How is the chef in charge at Sam and Gary's house? Chef
Yeah.
in charge is hydrating, excellent.
Okay, good. We got chef in charge hydrating.
Hydrating is like 90% of this class. The other 10% is science.
Yeah, we got a little bit of science, a lot of hydrating. And Doug's asking, how brown should they be? I like a nice golden brown. So you don't want them to be pale, you want at least a golden brown. You can take them to a dark golden brown if you like yours a little bit crispier. And like, Carol's saying, mine are like a light toast. Oh, toast is a great example. You can do like a medium toast on here. Yeah, but light toast, you want to take it to medium so that you get a little structure. Yeah, Allie and Laura, those are looking good. And that's like a nice golden brown. That is a soft golden brown. You can take it past there a little bit. Ethan's asking me, should I take mine out? Ooh, yeah. Ethan, those are starting to look good. I think you're going to open the oven. Let me see inside. I can't quite see with the grate on there. And I think you're looking good. If you want, grab a pair of tongs and try to pull one out. See if it deflates as it sits out. But they're looking really nice over there. Maybe, my gut says 3 more minutes on those and you'll be good to go. So do 3 more minutes and then you'll be good to go. Ooh. Yes, I'm seeing beautiful puffs coming out. And so, just for reference, these are what mine are looking like right now. And I gotta go back in the oven. I want just a little more color. But I'm seeing a nice golden brown throughout. They need a little bit more color, just so I'm sure they're stable. But I'll keep one out so you can kind of check it out. But it's puffed up. It's golden brown. As I press it, it's a little bit crispy on the exterior. And if I slice it in half, I see it's got nice puffiness inside. It's just a hair wet, but it's looking pretty good. It is almost there.
Cream puff close up.
Yeah, the cream puff close up. Yeah, and sure, Amy, I see we got one out. We're snacking on it. Once you pull one out, if you want a little snack of it, have a little taste out there, you definitely should. We worked so hard on these. If you want to dip in your pudding, do like a chip and dip situation. Or, I mean, not a bad plan.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I see some faces that are saying, oh, we are definitely chip and dipping with our pudding and our cream puffs. And so, it is, yeah, we gotta give some chef snacks out over here.
Yes, feed the DJ, feed the audience.
Feed the DJ, feed the audience. But this is the thing about baking. Oven makes a difference, your stovetop makes a difference. It all plays into how things bake off. And so this is where you're learning to read your baked goods. And that's the most important skill you can learn as a baker. I can tell you it's going to take 12 to 15 minutes or whatever the time is, but you'll learn your oven and you'll know, oh, in my oven, things don't work like that. Maybe it's going to take longer. Maybe it's going to be shorter. Maybe I have to drop my oven 25 degrees. And so those are the skills you need to be a great baker, is learning the touch, the feel, the tactileness of this, where it is a lot of heart going into this. That's what we're talking about. When we say it's baked with love, that's a little bit of love, is that knowledge that you have to know these are done. Grandma always knew when things were done. She just knew, and that's what made her food so special. And so that's what we're learning. Those are the skills I want you to pick up on. There's so much technical stuff, but those little soft skills are what's really important. And so, if you pulled it out, have you tasted it? How is it tasting? Are we getting a thumbs up, tasting good over there?
We got 2 thumbs from Chef
Ooh,
Aaron.
good. Yeah, Carol, they're looking good. We got thumbs up around. Oh, Amanda and Addie are asking, is she the reason you became a chef? Yes, my grandma is a big inspiration for me. She's a huge part of my culinary upbringing. She's the one who taught me how to make cream puffs and just always was in the kitchen with her. And she bought me my first Easy Bake Oven. My mom said use the adult oven, and I did not want to as a little toddler, so my grandma got me my Easy Bake Oven and started me on the journey towards pastry and learning how to bake delicious things. Aww. Yeah, but Carol, those look good. Carol saying was worried they were a little light. Carol, those look phenomenal. We got color, and so yeah. Show them off, Amanda and Addie. They're looking great. Yeah, Russ and John. We got beautiful color on these. Yeah, I'm going to pull mine. See how that color's looking. Ooh, yes, Molly and Lee. Yes. Susan over there. We got some puffs going on. Ooh, Pam. Yes. Oh, at Ethan's we got beautiful puffs. Oh, yes. Oh, Jug, we got puffs going on? Ooh, Jug, look at those puffs. Oh, yeah, Allie and Laura looking great. Ooh, yes. Oh, yeah, Chris and Rebecca, that's looking good. Ooh, shuffling.
Oh, my goodness, the party house over here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at those! Yes! We got beautiful dough. We got beautiful puffs. Ooh, yes, lawns are looking good. Ooh. And we got Carol saying it tastes eggy, LOL. Yeah, they are a very eggy treat. So it's going to taste buttery, eggy, and as we add our filling, that's what's going to kind of balance out that buttery egginess. I will tell you, if you want to go crazy for the holidays, cut these in half, creme fraiche, caviar, and chives in here. It is such a spectacular treat. And we've got Jack and ginseng. Some of ours have a little handle on the top. How can we eliminate that? So even some of mine have that little handle. And most of that has to do with the piping. So with those handles, as you get more smooth with your piping, it'll get a little bit better. The smoother your little ball of choux pastry is, the less handle you'll have. So I'll go ahead and I will, I started these. Grandma taught me how to scoop them with spoons, and they were craggly. They looked crazy. They were delicious. There was nothing bad about them. But then as I learned in pastry, I started piping them, and you get a little bit smoother of a texture. So if you've got some weird, wonky textures, a lot of that is the piping, getting that piping refined, getting that smoothness of the piping. And Russ and John are saying, can we put 2 trays on the same shelf in the oven? Yes. If you got 2 trays on the same shelf, that is totally good. Carol's like, it sounds insane with the caviar. Yeah, it is so good. I use these in sweet and savory applications. So if you wanted to do some kind of smoked salmon spread inside, a little cheese in here. Yeah, you can, the other thing you can make is called greasers, which are like cheese cream puffs. With those, when you go in with the eggs, you can add chives and cheese and all sorts of goodness. So you guys have such a beautiful base skill with these cream puffs. And so we're going to let the cream puffs cool down for a few minutes, and then we're going to fill them. And to cool them a little quicker, I'm just going to transfer them to my cutting board. And my ovens here only fit about 12 at a time, so I'm going to be baking for a little bit of time today to get all these baked off. So I'm just going to show you how to fill the first ones, and then I'll let you go on your own to fill the rest. But we want to let these cool a few minutes so they're not hot as we're filling with our pastry cream. And yeah, everyone, you're having a successful cream puffs. You're having success. Is it light golden brown or brown? I'd say it's a golden brown, erring on the side of brown. And so that's what I got here. And I am really bad at naming colors. So I was saying golden brown the other day in a gingerbread cookie class, and they're like, these cookies are already golden brown when they go in the oven. So we've got this light golden brown in these. They're on the side of brown. And as you're making these, you just don't want them to be blonde. Sometimes I'll bake these to a little deeper color if I want them to be a little crunchier. But for our croquembouche, I want a little crispiness on that exterior. But I want it to be nice and beautiful for this. If I was doing something where I wanted like crunch, you could go to dark brown on these and it'd be totally fine. And so we're going to keep piping, filling, keep those cream puffs going out. I'm going to show you how we fill these, and it is a very simple process. We're using that same piping bag, or a new piping bag and a new piping tip, and we're going to go ahead and just go in through the bottom and fill these. And for the croquembouche, we want to fill these through the bottom. If I'm making a cream puff and it's just served regularly, sometimes I'll slice these in half, pipe a little cream in here, you get that beautiful look. But since we're doing croquembouche, we always want to fill through the bottom for croquembouche so our piece stays nice and whole. And as I'm looking at these, I see a little size variance, so I'm going to kind of set these next to each other in size. Think about that as we're going into croquembouche tomorrow, is our sizes. I've got this guy who's a little munchkin, so maybe I'll snack on the munchkin and leave my ones that are a little bit bigger for the croquembouche. If you've got a size variance, the smaller or bigger ones, the outliers, are the little snack ones. The other ones you want in your croquembouche, because you want a fairly consistent size in the croquembouche so we have a nice stable structure. And so, I know we've got so many things going on. We've got cream puffs in the oven, we've got piping going on. give me a thumbs up if you're feeling okay about me showing how to kind of fill the little cream puffs. Ooh, yes, Sam and Gary, those are looking good. Yeah, I would get a little bit more color, just a little bit more, like 3 more minutes. And so, again, sorry, thumbs up if you are feeling good about showing the filling. Okay, perfect, perfect. And so for filling these, I'm going to put my piping tip in my bag. And again, we're doing that same thing where it's peeking right through. And I'm going to fill my bag with my pastry cream. And your pastry cream might not be perfectly cool yet. It's just, mine's still a tad bit warm, and that's totally fine. And Ethan's asking which tip. Again, for this, I've got the Ateco 805. So the same tip I was using for piping them out works great for this. Just a nice small round tip. There's a tip that's made for filling. It's called the Bismarck tip, and it looks like a huge injection needle. And I have used it many times, and I hate it because you can't get enough cream to squirt through it to really fill the cream puff. So I just go in with my Ateco 805. It does pretty much everything. I'm going to go ahead and just stir up my pastry cream a little bit just to soften it lightly. That pastry cream's going into my piping bag. I've got that ready to go. And then I'm going to use a knife to cut little X's in the bottom of my cream puff. So, just using the tip of my knife, I'm going to cut some little X's. And just a little X. And it's just to give us an area where we can put that tip in, pipe in a little cream till you feel a little weight. You'll kind of feel the puff expand. And then you can pull out and you've got that nice cream puff going on. And so again, you're just taking the tip of your knife, cutting that little X in the bottom. We pop, and sometimes if the bottoms get a little too crispy, they will crack a little bit, so be cautious as you're doing this. I cracked the bottom of this one. But cut those little X's. And if you're having a problem with really crispy bottoms where they keep cracking, you can use your pinky to just kind of open the little X a little bit. And then pop in a little bit of that cream. Once you feel it kind of start to expand, you're good to go. And so that's how we fill our cream puffs. Again, cut that little X in the bottom. Pipe in our cream. And that is good to go. We've got our cream puffs on the ready. And so, I know we're all in a little bit of a different place. Maybe we're just doing our cream puffs right now, but thumbs up if you're feeling good about the filling process. You're like, this makes sense. I see it. We can make this happen. Ooh, perfect. And yeah, once you've got them filled up, they are snackable at this point. This is our ready to eat little cream puff that is so, so good. And you'll feel the weight of it. So sometimes it's like, how much filling is there? You can feel between two cream puffs. One cream puff is heavy, the other one is light. That's how I know how much is in there. Just the weight of it. Yeah, Tuck is asking, snack attack, question mark. Yes, we can have a little snack attack over here. So, I'm going to get a little snack attack ready for everyone in the studio over here. You're welcome. Yeah, so have a little snack attack with these as you're filling them. And that is our process. And so that's our process. We've done so much today, and it is looking beautiful. Sue was asking, mine did turn out much flatter. How much flour should I add? And so try like a half cup of flour to thicken it and see if that helps. Sometimes the flour won't help, and if the flour doesn't help, I would pipe one with that little excess flour in there, pop it in the oven, see if it rises. If it does not, the second option of what you can do, you can make a small batch of that roux that we did with the butter, the water, and the flour and fold that into your mixture. Does that make sense? So I would do like a quarter batch of that, where instead of 2 cups of flour, you're going to do a half cup of flour, a half cup of water, and a half stick of butter. Cook it that same way and fold that in. So try the half cup of flour in there, fold that in, see if it works. If it doesn't, make that roux mixture, cook it down, and then fold that into the egg mixture. Does that all sound good over there, Sue? Okay. And that's one of those things where sometimes the batter is loose. That could mean it didn't get cooked down enough on here, or there was maybe a little extra water, maybe the eggs were a little different, so that can happen. If that does happen, you can try folding in a little flour. If the flour doesn't help, you can make a little extra batch of the roux. Okay, Susan's asking, can I fill them tomorrow? And if so, how do I store the cooked cream puffs? You can definitely fill tomorrow. If you're filling tomorrow, cooked cream puffs, store them in an airtight container so they are nice and well wrapped, well taken care of. You can do it right on a sheet tray wrapped with saran wrap. And then pastry cream store in the refrigerator, and then fill them out tomorrow. And so we're going to get a few more filled over here, and then I want to come out, see some of your creations. I know we're kind of stopping midway. There's a lot of piping, filling, and everything that has to go on. So if you have questions, please let them come in, let them stream in. I want to get all your questions answered. But we're going to fill a few more, and then I want to see a few of your cream puffs out there as we're getting part 1 of Croquembouche Marathon done over here. So, again, cutting that little X, you could use a paring knife. Go ahead, pipe that filling in. Okay, and can you repeat how you store them? I do them stored in an airtight container or on a sheet tray wrapped up really well with saran wrap, and this on the kitchen tower. We don't need to store these in the refrigerator. If they go in the fridge, they'll get kind of hard and the fridge dries things out. So for these, we want to store them at room temperature on the counter. They will soften a little bit over the course of 24 hours, but that's totally fine. If you wanted to re-crisp them, you can always throw them back in the oven for like 3 minutes to just get that crispy exterior, but you can definitely store them. And then pastry in an airtight container. Pastry is not going in the fridge. Pastry cream we want to store in that airtight container in the fridge. Oh, Molly and Lee are asking, how do we store it if it's got the custard? If it's got the custard, you want that in the filling. I'm sorry. I was answering that question in, if you've got your cream puffs and you're filling tomorrow, you want to fill tomorrow, you want to store the unfilled cream puffs on the counter at room temperature. If you have the custard inside of them, those are going in the fridge in an airtight container or wrapped really well. I am so sorry. I didn't even think of that distinction. Unfilled, you store these out on the counter. Filled, store in the refrigerator. Both are going to be wrapped really well in plastic or in an airtight container. Thumbs up if you're with me on this. I just want to make sure everyone's like together. I don't want any filled cream puffs left out. Do not leave your filled cream puffs out. They will not do well overnight. The pastry cream will do some funky things. And so, we're filling our last few cream puffs, getting that cream in. And again, fillings you can play with. We're doing the chocolate and vanilla, but if you were like, I'm going to get some lemon curd in here, I'm going to get some other flavors in there, you are definitely up to your creative devices in having fun with this. And so, ooh, yeah. If you've gone in for a taste, I want to see a few of your cream puffs. I want to see where we're at out there and see how things are looking. Ooh, yes. Sam and Gary, we went in for the taste. They're tasting good. Oh, yeah, Carol, look at those. Ooh, yes. Oh, yeah. Madeline, they're looking great. Ooh, Aaron's, we're tasting away. Oh yeah, Tina and Kathy, look at those. Oh yeah, we got Carla and Paul and Anna Grace's, yes. Oh, ooh, Andrea, they're looking so awesome. Ooh, yes, Allie and Laura, Chef Ethan, yes. Ooh, yes. Oh my gosh, yes, at Rachel's, they're looking so good. Yeah, Chef Pim, look at those. Oh my gosh. Yes, oh, at Molly and Lee's, we're going in, getting the little cuts. Yeah, Erin, they're looking great. Ooh, Chris and Rebecca, Pam over there. Yes. Ooh, yes, Sam and Gary, look at those. Oh my gosh, everyone, they are looking great. I want you to know you should feel very, very accomplished. You should feel proud of yourselves today. You made pastry cream, you made cream. Yeah, Erin's jumping up and down in the kitchen. Give yourself like a round of applause for everyone out here. You guys did a beautiful job with your cream. Yeah, Doug over there, look at those. Yes, yes, we got cream puffs going on. And so we got a few more questions. Could we put some framboise in with the chocolate? Ooh, yes, you definitely could. Yeah. My French is not great, but I think that's raspberry. And so, yeah, you could put some raspberry in with that chocolate if you wanted raspberry. And then Jack and Jen are saying, if we plan to eat the final product tomorrow evening, would you fill them today and assemble tomorrow, or would you just fill them all tomorrow morning before the class? And Jack and Jen, I'm going to fill all of mine today, eat mine tomorrow evening. The only thing that happens with that is they get like slightly more soggy because they have that filling in for a little bit longer. If you want yours a little bit on the crisper side, we're going to add that crisp caramel. You could do it in the morning, but it's easy if you fill them all tonight, let them just kind of sit and chill. Russ and John are asking, what is that truffle salt for in the kit? The truffle salt is just a bonus. I love to send truffle salt with everything, so if you wanted, you could sprinkle a little truffle salt on top. When you dip these in the caramel, if you do a little truffle salted caramel on top, ooh, and that is so good. And so, again, to that filling point, you can fill them tonight or tomorrow. The only change it's going to make is they'll get just lightly, not even soggier, they'll just soften a little bit more. But I'm filling all mine tonight to eat tomorrow night. They'll store beautifully in the fridge overnight and we'll be able to assemble tomorrow. Stark is asking, if we're assembling this for Sunday night, will tomorrow's class be recorded so we can do it the following Sunday? Yes. So we're recording this class, we're recording tomorrow's class. After the recordings process, they take about an hour or so to process. I'll send out the recording to all of you so you can get the assembly video, you can get everything going on. Yeah, DJ Tuck is recording it all. And so, ooh, okay, Carol's asking, just curious, the toffee from our sticky topping pudding, it still smells good. Throw it in the puffs, LOL. If it smells good, give it a taste. Tucker is saying, no, it has gone bad. But if it hasn't gone bad, it smells good, it tastes good, I would fold that in with some whipped cream or pastry cream and go in.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Carol's saying it tastes good. It's just butter. Butter lasts a long time in the fridge. It's butter and sugar. I think you're okay over there, Carol. That is going to be your judgment call on flavor. But yeah, fold that into some whipped cream and add it if you want.
I'm in.
Okay.
You convinced me.
Tucker's been convinced. But yeah, you can have so much fun with these fillings. Go wild with the filling. Yeah, if you're like, I want some chopped candy canes in my pastry cream with a little bit of peppermint extract, do you have a little bit of fun with it? Stark is leaving us with some words and advice. Antibiotics are temporary. Delicious is forever.
Facts.
The facts. Pam is saying, you mentioned for lemon curd, use the same amount of... Wait, Tucker. Sorry. Of whipped cream and vanilla custard. About how much of each? So for the lemon curd, I would just fold like a cup of lemon curd into a cup. So probably about 2 cups of whipped cream. That's going to kind of lighten it well. You could do a cup of lemon curd into a cup of pastry cream and then fold that into 2 cups of whipped cream. But I would say 1 cup of lemon curd folded into 1 cup of whipped cream is going to give you a really nice light filling. And it's going to be just lightly runny, but as long as it gets into that puff and you chill it, it should be a-okay. Oh, Lauren and Stefan are saying peanut butter with the chocolate. Yes. Yes, I love my peanut butter chocolate. So if you want like a Reese's Puff one, go for it. Yeah, and that is delicious. That is really delicious. And so yeah, have fun with those fillings. You can fill with all sorts of things. Whipped ganaches. Yeah, jams folded with cream. If you're like, does it fold with cream? If it folds with whipped cream, you can fill these with whipped cream. You can fill these with plain whipped cream if you wanted. There are so many fun variations on this. I've never done a savory croquembouche, but I'd imagine you could do a savory croquembouche, maybe put it together. I don't know what we'd put that together with. I gotta think on the savory croquembouche. I will get back to you tomorrow on a savory croquembouche if I have some inspiration tonight. But there is so much fun to be had with these. Oh, Amanda and Addie are saying hold it together with cheese. Oh, if we did like a cheese crisp between each one. Oh, okay. Oh, Stark is saying fill it with spinach dip. Okay. Okay, that is cream puffs to party over here. Tuck is saying I am held together with cheese. We're getting some mixed emotions on the savory ones. But everyone, enjoy these cream puffs. Have them ready to go tomorrow at noon PST. We're assembling. My biggest tips on assembly is have some kind of glove nearby. We're going to be dipping our cream puffs into a hot sugar syrup to hold these together. So have some gloves nearby. I don't want burns. With gloves, I'll show you the technique. But whenever I'm using a glove with that hot sugar, if I get the glove on the hot sugar, you can like immediately throw that glove off and let it go wherever, and it keeps your hands nice and safe. But yeah, you can use tongs as well. I'll give you all the safety tips for that tomorrow as we're assembling. I got a question. Can you use dark Caro syrup for tomorrow? Dark Caro syrup will have the same effect in here. The only thing is it's going to be hard to tell when you get that caramelized color because you're going to start with a darker color and it might be hard to see what the caramel is looking like. And Chef Pam's saying, how large of a plate or platter should I have for the base? We're going to do about a 7-inch base. And so I don't have my cake board in here. It's in the other room. But you can definitely use a 7-inch plate, and we're going to build it around. Yeah, Carol's got it over there. Carol's showing it off. So that's about 7 inches over there. That is going to be the perfect size for our croquembouche. That one's 10. Oh, Sam is telling me that one is 10. Okay, so you might have a larger 10-inch one. But 7-inch base is going to give us enough cream puffs. Yeah, at Russ and John's over there, that's perfect. Yeah, we got it perfect. And then Stark is saying Lytle's golden syrup FTW. Yeah, Lyle's adds such a beautiful flavors for things. Tina and Kathy are saying we are replacing the corn syrup with honey. Is it 1-to-1? Yeah, 1-to-1 ratio honey for corn syrup. Yeah, and so perfect. We got a lot of good questions coming in. But yeah, I'll show you through assembly tomorrow. 7-inch base is good for this. And I got a question earlier about mini ones. If you wanted to mini ones that were just little towers of little croquembouche that were about this high, maybe like 5 or 6 cream puffs, you could do a bunch of those, wrap them in a little cellophane and deliver those to people. People would go wild. Yeah, and Tucker's letting us know. Any final questions? I want to make sure everyone's feeling good, feeling confident. Are we feeling confident? Like, you should feel very proud and accomplished. Thumbs up if you're feeling confident, proud, accomplished, because we got so many cream puffs here today. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Russ and John, I'll send out the video tonight. We just have to let it process on Zoom, but I'll send out the video tonight. Assembly video I'll send out after the class tomorrow. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. You are crushing it out there. Enjoy your beautiful cream puffs. Have a few snacks. Save enough for your croquembouche tomorrow. And we're going to go ahead and meet you tomorrow. I cannot wait to assemble. And just very proud of all of you. Thank you so much for joining, having a good time. If you have questions, please email me, jeremy@truffleshufflesf. I'm going to be checking my email a little bit better today to make sure if any questions come through. And I want to let you know you are always the priority in my inbox. So if I see croquembouche in the subject line, that is a prioritized email for me today. So if you have questions, let me know. But thank you. And yeah, tag us at truffleshuffle_SF, at Jeremy Jarm on Instagram, and let us know if you have any questions. But thank you so, so much, and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Ooh, yes!